Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on this gorgeous Oceans to Oceans cowl that I've created recently. Now this is Changling Coloured Yarns and young Mel, there she is right there, gorgeous. I purchased the yarn from her a few weeks ago over in Coburg when we had the Fibre Fest, and this beautiful yarn is called Kingfisher yarn. Now I actually used a contrast coloured yarn here. So she had some blues on the table and the Kingfisher, gorgeous. I love this colour. Now I think that for the contrast colour, it would look great if you had a black. Yeah, the blue looks great, it looks nice, but I would have loved to have seen the black in the middle of this. But the fact that I wanted it to be called the Oceans to Oceans, I wanted to keep it sea breezy, oceany if you will, can I use that word? And so I left it blue, yeah? All right, so how much yarn did I use? Altogether I used 67 grams for the smaller size. Okay, now I have 3 sizes here today. 67 grams for the smaller size, that's around 35 to 40 grams of the multicoloured and about 20 to 30 grams of the solid colour. All right, but this is only for the small size. There are 2 extra sizes here, so you will need that little bit more. You will still use at least 70 grams of this and 40 grams of that, or 35 to 40 grams of that if you're doing the largest size. So keep that in mind. You don't need a lot of yarn for this. It is a small cowl. It is made to use under your jacket during winter. All right, so keep that in mind. It's not really a pattern for beginners, so if you are a beginner, take your time. I have done it step by step to help you take your time. There is some carrying up of yarn on the inside of your work, so you don't have a thread dangling anywhere. Gorgeous. Now let's talk about sizes. You have 3 sizes in the tutorial. The smaller size uses a 4mm hook, the medium sizes use a 4.5, and the larger sizes will go back to the 4, but they will have more stitches in the round. All right, and you will need scissors, and you will need 1 stitch marker or a safety pin or a paper clip or even just a piece of thread to mark your stitch, and you will need your sewing needle. So there you go. These are the things that you will need. Make sure you have the right hook size. To check your measurements, please check the description box down below for your measurements for your size, all right? So each measurement will be set down below. Make sure you check your chest measurement for this particular piece before you continue. And that's pretty much it. All right, so I want to thank the beautiful Mel for her lovely Kingfisher yarn today. I love this beautiful yarn. And also I want to make a special thank you to the lovely Bonnie for her colour combination today. So what happens is, guys, on my lives, on Saturday mornings live that is, I have 2 lives a week, one at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoon and one at 10 a.m. Saturday mornings. Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. And one lucky subscriber on the Saturday mornings live gets to choose the colour combination of our next tutorial. And the lovely Bonnie chose Mel's Kingfisher yarn from Changling Coloured Yarns. All right, so special thank you to the lovely Bonnie. Now, without further ado, I'm going to let you get started creating your gorgeous Oceans to Oceans cowl. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, make sure you start with your solid colour, whether that's the blue or black or whatever it is you wanted to use for yours, and make sure you get the correct hook size for your size. Having a look up on the screen there, these are the hook sizes that you need for your size. Gorgeous. Now let's get started. Alright, so what you want to do is grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Leave yourself a nice tail for weaving in, yeah? And pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there, pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in that little loop and give everything a tug. All right, we're going to start off by making chains, and a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through to the loop on your hook once, yarn over 2, yarn over 3 and 4 and 5. Don't do these loops too tight if you want to work on back bumps of your work later, all right? But in general, don't do them too tight, otherwise you can't get the hook in later, yeah? All right, so your job now is to continue chaining until you reach your size. Have a look up on the screen there. Gorgeous. Now, if you want to know what your sizes are, please check the description box down below for your size. Gorgeous. And then create the chains that you see up on the screen there for your size. All right. And so all you're doing now is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all the way up to the chains for your size. I'm going to stop it here and meet you back here in just a moment once you've completed your chains, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, you should have chained the amount of chains you need for your size. I'm working on a little sample piece here for now, but you guys work on your size. Now there's the amount of chains you needed for your size. Gorgeous. Let's move on. What we're going to do now is place single crochets into every stitch across. That's single crochet US, double crochet UK. You have a choice though. You can either pop, in fact, I would suggest this for the new crocheter, to pop your hook in the very first loop you come to. So you pop your hook in there, pull a loop through like so, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. And that's your single crochet US, double crochet UK. But if you want to take a risk and do a stitch that's a little tiny bit more technical, but I'm pretty sure you can do this. This is called single crocheting into your loop. When you turn it to the side, you see these little back bumps right here. I'm going to get close up for you. Sorry about my fingers being so big there, but you can actually see those back bumps now. All right, so what you want to do is turn your work over, find the first back bump you see. Might be a tiny little bit tight, but it's right there. You pop your hook in that back bump, pull a loop through like so, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. So whether you're doing your single crochet in your back bump or in a side loop, for now, all I want you to do, which is everyone, place a stitch marker in the top 2 loops of that stitch. Now, if you don't have stitch markers, you can use safety pins, bobby pins, a piece of thread, whatever you have in stock. So we're going to do single crochets into every stitch until we get to the end, but I'm going to pop mine in my back bumps. You can pop yours in your top loop if you like, if it's easier for you, all right? Don't stress out making something that's a little difficult for you, all right? So what you want to do is single crochet into every stitch all the way across. You know, the back bumps will be a little trickier, and I'm finding I'm splitting the yarn as well. So there you go. And, you know, if you are new to crochet, this is going to be very testy. So you might want to pop your single crochets in the side loop like normal. All right, so there you go. I went quiet there. I do apologise, guys. But what I want you to do is simply that. Single crochet into every stitch all the way across. And what we're going to do is stop it right here. You can head off on your own, do your single crochets, get to your last, 1 or 2 stitches there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty, guys, here we are at the end of the row. And I'm just going to get a nice close-up there for you. Now, you either place your last single crochet in that side loop or in your back bumps if you're working in the back bumps. Just pop it in the last one right there with a normal single crochet. And what you have left is like a little knot right there. We're going to work on that later. You should all have this. Alrighty, guys, I did forget to mention count. Now, when you are counting your stitches, you are counting these little V's that you see right here. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So what I want you to do now is to count your stitches, and when you get the count that you need for your size, having a look up there, gorgeous, we'll continue with the tutorial. Make sure that your piece lays flat like that. Gorgeous. All right, so now what we're going to do And normally we would have done this before join at the chains. That's what we normally do. But what happens sometimes when you're new with crochet, slip stitching into a chain, you may accidentally twist it, and then you do a row of your single crochets and you realize I've made a mistake, got to take them all undone. This way the single crochets are already done. All right, and it's easy to find the other side, and I'll show you exactly that now. Let's just lift the tail for a minute, just for a second, and all you're doing is keeping your work straight like that. Like you can see it straight, yeah? You can see it straight. It almost looks like a bracelet, doesn't it, right now? And that's the look we're going for. What I want you to do, and to be able to close this, just grab your working yarn and just, pop it at the back. Because what happens is, I've done this before, I've closed it up and it's ended up in the middle and I've had to pull the thread through. So make sure your working end, your tail and everything's at the back for now. And just find the top of, let's get it closer. See those top of your stitches right there? Run the top of the stitches all the way over. See how it's twisted there? We don't want that twisted. We want to run the top of the stitches, get to the top, and you realize the top is the one where your stitch marker is in anyways. So all you want to do is pop your hook in that stitch right there and make sure it looks right, okay? And it does. Don't worry about that little tail. Just ignore it. We'll fix that up later. And just grab your working end of your yarn and pull it through like so, and slip stitch it into the stitch that you are in. All right, you're already there. And then give it a gentle tug. You want to make sure that's tight enough. If you leave it loose, that's going to happen. We don't want that. So we want to make sure it's tight enough. Remove that stitch marker now. All right, and check to make sure your piece is straight. And let's get started. All right, so this is our second round. So what we want to do is chain one, tighten it up just for this round. We're going to join this piece later, but for the meantime, just pop your hook back in the stitch you are in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. You've made your single crochet US, double crochet UK, pop your stitch marker in there. The top 2 loops of your stitch, yeah? Leave this thread here. We're not going to work on it yet. We will work on it, but we're not going to do it yet. It's just going to confuse us, all right? So in the meantime, all you're doing is popping a single crochet into every stitch, and you're going through, if you want to give it a stretch, you can actually see it. Right there, there's a space there, you've got 2 loops on top. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops, and that is all you are doing into every stitch all the way across your piece. It's super duper easy, this part. The next part can be a little tricky, yeah? But this part, single crochets, I love them. All right, I got quiet there, sorry guys. But there you go, single crochet into every stitch. Get to the end of this round just before your stitch marker. Meet me there once you're done, and then we will talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round. Okay, they're called rounds now because we are now officially working in rounds, yeah? All right, and I have 1 single crochet left. I'm going to pop my last single crochet in that stitch. Now being careful, that 2 little loops there that's very tight, that is your slip stitch, not a single crochet, all right? So what you should have in the round for your size is that. Gorgeous. Yes, if you haven't, just check where you may have gone wrong, right? Now what we're going to do is slip stitch to join, but we're not just slip stitching, we're also changing colours, all right? Now there are many ways you can do this. It's very tricky. You could either cast off, cut your thread, and then just add your new colour. You know, slip stitch to join, cast off, add your thread, add your new colour, and then you've got a million threads to weave in at the end of your piece. But I'm going to show you a way where you don't need to. All you have is this loop to weave in, this loop to weave in at the beginning, and at the very end you have the same amount to weave in. So you've got 4 loops altogether to weave in, and that's it, or 4 tails if you will, right? So what you want to do here simply is this. Just keep your little short tail at the back. You don't need to worry about that. You're going to pop your hook in the stitch with your stitch marker. It might pay to remove it because it's a bit difficult to see this. So pop your hook in the stitch with your stitch marker. Grab your blue and pop it in your fingers at the back, yeah? And just grab your new thread. Pop it on the hook and pull that through, and then pull it through to the loop on your hook. Now it's all going to be very loose and yucky. So what I want you to do, yucky, can I use that word? I want you to grab your working blue, not your tail, that's all right, you can leave that dangling now, but just grab your working blue and grab the tail of your new thread and pop them at your fingers in the back or your hand at the back and just tighten it a little bit. Chain 1 with your new thread. Now, this is where the carry up happens. Making sure all tails are out of your way, you grab your working end, the blue, and just passing it forward like so. You don't have to pull tightly, just pass it forward. Chain 1. Grab it again, pass it back. Chain another one. So you've actually chained 1, 2, and 3. All right. What you want to do here, however, is pop a stitch marker in the top 2 loops of that top chain. This is going to be tricky to pop your hook in at the end of the round, so make sure that's not too loose. Not too tight. It will be a little bit, but make sure it's not too tight, yeah? This chain 3 will act as a double crochet in this round, okay? And actually, it's the start of your pattern as well. So you're assuming that's a double crochet. Your very next stitch will be a treble. That's treble US, double treble UK. And that is wrapping the yarn over your hook twice before starting your stitch. So you go once, twice. You're already in this stitch, so don't be confused. Jump straight into the very next stitch, pull a loop through, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops. It's a taller stitch. So yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2, a very tall stitch. You're going to do it again in the next stitch, so yarn over twice into your next stitch, pull a loop through 4, yarn over, pull through 2, 3, yarn over, pull through 2, last 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And now you're going to do a normal double crochet. And that's double crochet US, treble UK. Yarn over your hook, into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2, repeat the stitch in the next stitch, into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now we're doing what we call a half double US, half treble UK. That's yarn over your hook, into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops. And in this stitch, it's just yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. All right. Next stitch, single crochet US, double UK, hook in the stitch, pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops. That's pretty much half of your pattern, yeah? And now we're going to chain 1 and 2. Skip 1 and 2, go into your 3rd stitch with a single crochet. What we're going to do is mirror all of these. We're going to do it that way. We're going backwards. So your next stitch will be what it was there, half double US, half treble UK, yarn over your hook, into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now yarn over your hook. The next 2 stitches are double crochet US or treble UK. So into the stitch, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2, into the very next, pull through, 3 loops, yarn over 2, yarn over 2. So you've got your single, half, double, double, and now you've got to do your trebles, your really tall stitches, which is yarn over your hook twice. Into the next stitch, pull a loop through, and you've got your 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, and again pull through 2, and do it again in the very next stitch, like so. And then you do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. So you have actually repeated that as a mirror image. You've gone down into the valley and up into the peak again. All right, so your next stitch will be a double crochet, half double into the next. That's only pull through all 3 loops, remember? Yeah. Single into your next. You know what a single is? You've done 2 rounds of it. And now you're chaining 1 and 2. You're skipping 1 and 2, and you're doing a single into the next, half double into the next, and a double into your next. All right. So what I'm going to do now is from this time, I'm going to show you 1 set, and then you can just repeat that set all the way across. Now I only have a few stitches here, so you'll need to keep going with yours. So the set starts off like this. 1 double crochet into the next stitch, treble into your next stitch, second treble into your next stitch, go back to the doubles, double into your next, a second one into your next, half double into your next, remember that's pulled through all 3, like so, single into your next, chain 1 and 2, skip 1 and 2, single into your third, half double into your next, and a double into your next. That is your repeat pattern all the way across your piece. All right, so what I want you to do now is to go back to that time that I've popped up on the screen there, continue in that manner all the way across, get to your very last stitch, and you will end up with the end of the repeat pattern. You'll end up with that last double crochet in your set. All right, so go ahead and do that now. Keep repeating the pattern over and over again until you get to your last stitch. I'll meet you there once you're done, and then we will talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round. Now I just want to show you something. Be careful. You're going to start to knot your piece. So make sure at the end of each round you do this. Make sure that your piece does not knot, because that'll be forever trying to take that undone later. All right, so make sure it doesn't knot. But in the meantime, this is where you should be, and you should have all landed, literally, your last stitch right there would be a double crochet, US, treble UK. Oh, that's too loose. Let's try that again. Try it again, Mary. Double US, treble UK. All right, so this is where you are. Now this area can look a little messy. What I want you to do is just give your old thread a tug, and it closes that section up a little bit so it doesn't look so messy. And you could do the same with your tail. You give that a tug, and literally it's already tightened everything up and made it look nice. All right, so this is once again guys, I forgot to mention count in this particular round, and what you are counting here are these little chains, again the little V's that you see up the top. So you are counting 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and your chains 8 9, and continue your stitches 10, 11, 12, and so on. All right, so your job is to count those coloured stitches all the way across every stitch you come to, and not just the larger stitches, but also the chains as well. just working on the yarn that you are working on right now, yeah? And you're going to slip stitch into the top loop of that last chain that you worked on. And I did say it was going to be tight because you've got a piece of thread in there, so take your time. Oh, mine worked. And just your normal thread. You don't have to bring the blue through yet, just your normal thread like so. Remove that stitch marker, it's going to confuse us, yeah? So tighten it up a little. Drop your normal thread, grab your contrast colour, the blue, the solid colour, pass it forward for a minute, yeah? And now, chain 1. That's your first chain. Pass that blue back, chain 2, yeah? And pass it forward one more time, chain 3. Now all I want you to do is just bring it to the back. That's your blue. You're not going to worry about that. You've just carried that up at the back. What you want to do though is pop a stitch marker in the top chain. Right there. Keep that nice and loose if you can, yeah? And all you're doing here, and this is a very simple round as long as you did your count right, repeat the round exactly the same way that you just did it. So your next stitch was a treble. You're going to do a treble. So yarn over your hook twice, into the top of the stitch, doing a treble, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and another treble in your next because that was a treble in your previous round. And a double into your next because that was the double in your previous round. And another double into your next because that was a double in your previous round. Half double into your next. Single into your last because that was the single into your previous round. And then you've got your chain 2. You're going to do the same. Chain 1 and 2. Skip your chains. Jump into the very first single crochet that you see here. The first stitch with a single crochet. I'll just show you that again. I'll get a close up for you. There's your 2 chains, 1 and 2. And you're jumping into that single crochet right there. And you're doing a half double. And then you're going to do a double in your next. Right, what I want to do is stop there. Now, this next set that we do is going to be your repeat set for the round. All right, so stay focused on this set because that will be your repeat set. First thing you're going to do is pop a double crochet into your next. So double crochet into your next stitch like so. Treble into your next. Treble into your next. That's your second one. And a double in each of the next 2. So 1 double and a second double. Half double into your next. Single into your last, which is a single as well. There's your chain 2. We're going to chain 1 and 2, skip 1, 2, and pop your single crochet into your single. Half double into your next, and a double into your very next stitch. And that, my dears, is the pattern throughout this round. All right, so follow the pattern from that time there until all the way through your piece. Or if you remember what your stitches looked like in your previous round, you're just doing exactly the same. So you're only repeating that last round again. All right, so go to that time, repeat your pattern all the way through. Meet me once you get to the very last stitch and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. I do have one more stitch left here, but before we do anything else, we're going to do this. Grab yourself another stitch marker, and just pop it in your little loop that you've got there. So this way, oh, wrong side, let's try this. This way, if you pull your work, it's not going to come undone just for a minute, because what we want to do is we want to get rid of these tails. Make sure everything is correct. You should still have the exact same amount of stitches, by the way. I've been forgetting to tell you. Make sure you count every stitch, and your chains are counted as a stitch as well. So that's your 1, 2, and then your 3 is your single crochet, 4, 5, and so on. So your stitch count will never change from now on. Yeah. Yes, for your size. So what we want to do now is grab a sewing needle. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to close up that bit there. You know how I said to you, don't worry, we'll worry about that big gap there later. That's what we're going to do. The bonus about doing the circle work this way, when you're working in the round, you're going to find that no matter what you do, even if you were chaining and slip stitching, you're going to see this look. But when I do it this way, I notice I don't actually see much. It's not noticed, and it doesn't twist in the beginning. You don't end up with a twisted work and you'd have to undo everything and start again. So this to me is a lot easier. So what we want to do, that's our tail, yeah? What you want to do is see your first stitch is there, and your second one is there. I want you to pop your needle into, I don't know if you can see that, let me show you, right into the base of the stitch right there. So it's going through the whole stitch. So you pop your needle, and you're going to do this very gently. Don't pull it too tight. So just a gentle tug like that. Then you're going to go into the stitch that you are in. Pop your needle in that stitch, and it's the whole stitch like so. Yeah. Then what you're going to do is bring your sewing needle into the first stitch. Looks a little confusing, but once you pull this tight in a minute, it's going to be good. So you pull it through that first stitch, you give it a gentle tug, and that's what you have. It's closed up. Now what you want to do is turn your work and sew your thread through the back of your work. So what you want to do is just grab a piece of thread. Let's see if I can get closer for you. It's a bit coloured changed here. We've got a bit of storm happening outside, guys, so it's a bit dark now. So you just pop it through one of your threads very gently, and then you grab another thread somewhere else. It doesn't matter where. Pop it through there, making sure though that you do not see this thread from the outside. Doesn't make a difference because it's all very dark. But pop it through there, and if you can see the needle on the other side in here, then you'll be able to see the thread, but you won't need to. Pop your needle through there and over through into the next stitch. And usually I pop it through the single crochets, but it's a little tight, this work. So I'm going to go through some stitches. And once you're done, you can cut your little thread, and not only is that sewn together, let's get that out of the way for a minute, it's not noticeable. You can't tell where you've sewn that in and where you haven't. If you pulled that too tight, then you'd be able to tell. Right, now what you're going to do is you're going to weave in this tail here. So if you weave in these two tails here, and you're carrying your yarn up in every second round, or every third round, I should say, sorry, and every second round, we'll see that in a minute, then you'll never have to weave in tails. But if you keep cutting, now this one here you can go through stitches at the back. Make sure you can't see the needle. Yep, gorgeous. But if you just keep going, you won't have to worry about cutting anymore if you keep raising your thread up. But if you cut, then you have to keep weaving in ends after every round, and it's or every second round, and that's a lot of work, yeah? And give it a cut. And now the best part is you don't have to worry about threads until the end of your piece, because you are bringing your threads up. So now you no longer have a tail down there, and it looks like you joined it like from the beginning. So it's gorgeous, yeah? All right, so moving right along. That took a long time. I do apologise. Grab your loop. Finish off your round. Now I still have one double crochet left. I'll complete that now. Finishing off my round like so. All right, and then you slip stitch to join, but guess what? We are changing to our solid colour now. All right, so this is where it can get a little tricky, and I've actually tangled my work up again. Just, you know, doing the threads, I tangled my work up. So let's detangle, guys, detangle as you go along. A little bit fiddly, but it will look nice in the end, and you won't have to raise your piece up. All we need to do is pop our hook in that tight stitch right there, remove the stitch marker. Now remember, you're dropping, bring this out a little bit, you're dropping the multicoloured yarn, yeah, and you're picking up your solid colour, yeah. So let's do that now. So grabbing your solid colour, pull that loop through like so, pull it through to the loop on your hook, and just might need to give that bit of a tug at the back, yeah, and just chain one, don't lose a stitch like I just did, chain one, yep. Now grabbing your multicoloured yarn again, because you need to bring this yarn up as well. So pass it up, and, well, it's not actually up, you're only passing it over if you think about it for this stitch, because you're going back into the stitch and you're going to do a single crochet. Now it's going to be a little tight, but that's okay. It's going to be a little tight, but that's okay. Pop your hook into that stitch, and if you can't do it, then just grab another thin hook and do it. Hook in the stitch, pull a loop through the tight stitch like so, and then yarn over your hook, pull through both those loops, pop a stitch marker in. We are doing a single crochet round. All right, it's going to be a little different, but we are doing one. Yeah, there you go. Single crochet in that stitch. Now, grab your multicoloured yarn again, passing it forward and just holding it for a second. Yeah, just for 1 second. And you're jumping into your treble stitch with a single crochet, like that. All right, so what you have is 1 single, 2 singles, and let's count them. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All sizes should have 7 because it's the pattern, yeah? Now what you have is this. All right, a lot of people find this tricky. It's not tricky really. It's just a matter of focus. And I'm going to bring this right up so you can see what I'm doing here. You've got your chains from your previous round and the chains from the round before, and then your single crochets from your second round. So what you want to do is skip both these chain sections, jump over them, and do single crochets into each one of these stitches. But it's kind of like an elongated single crochet. So you pop your hook in that stitch. You're avoiding both of these chains. Pop your hook in the stitch, but you're going around all of it. Yeah. So into the stitch, pull a loop through nice and tall, and then yarn over, pull through both those loops. Yeah. Not difficult, just got to be careful. Don't pull too tight. Yeah. Go into the next stitch, pull a loop through, nice and tall, yarn over, pull through. Don't leave it too loose either or it looks gappy, yeah? So move your work over. There's 1 stitch right there, which is your single crochet. Don't miss it or you'll be 1 stitch short, yeah? So single crochet 1, and count it might help, yeah? 2, oops, that didn't go in, let's try that again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It'll always be 10 stitches across. It doesn't matter on your size. Everyone will have 10 stitches across, and then 2 elongated stitches. All right, so you drop right down to that stitch below, pull a loop through nice and tall, yarn over, pull through 2. Into your next stitch, pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, move your work over because you want to grab that first stitch. Remember, it's 10 across and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then your elongated stitches. That's pretty much your pattern all the way across. Now when you get to your last chain 2 spaces, the very last chain 2 spaces, you'll have a couple of stitches left, or 1, 2, 3 stitches left. Just wait for me there, get to those last 2 chain spaces and I'll meet you there. All right, so all you need to do, and you can see the pattern starting to happen. How gorgeous is it? Yeah, single crochet your elongated stitches 1 and 2, 10 single crochets across. Make sure you move your work over so you catch that first single crochet. Yeah, so 2 stitches, long stitches, 10 normal stitches, 2 long, 10 normal, so on, all the way across. Go ahead and do that now. Meet me back here once you're done, and then we will talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round. I still have my elongated stitches to do, and I asked you to get to that section anyways. So what you want to do is do your last 2 tall stitches, 1 and 2, and what you will have is 3 stitches left. Move your work over and you'll have single 1, single on the half double 2, and single on your last stitch, which was a double, 3. All right. Now we're going to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, but you need to also raise up your multicolored yarn as well. So pop your hook in your stitch like so, remove your stitch marker, pull a loop through like so, and through to the loop on your hook. Grabbing your thread and just passing it back. All right, that's your coloured thread, yeah? Chain 1. Normally you would pass your thread back, but it's a single crochet. So all we're going to do here is pop a single crochet in that stitch like so. Pull a loop through like so, yep. And you're going to pass your thread forward, yep, holding it down at the back, and then pull your loop through like so. Pop your stitch marker in there. So you have raised your multicolored yarn all the way up to the top of your thread. So on the way back after this round, you can pick up your multicolored yarn. And we'll talk about that later again. Guess what? This round's so much easier. Single crochet into every stitch, but still keep your count. So single 1, single 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, and when you get to these 2 stitches, the tall ones, you're just doing your normal 1 and 2. And now count your 10 across. So make sure you go into your first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. When you get here, you should have your 2 elongated stitches. So you go 1 and 2. And then you do the same thing all the way across. Count 10, 2, 10, 2, all the way across. Get to the end of the round Once you get to the end of that round, I'll meet you there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Remember, you have the same amount of stitches in the round as you did with your first single crochet round. That will never change, all right? So remember that. Have a look up on the screen right there. That's the amount that you should have for your size. Remember, in the meantime, we're going to head off on our own. 10 single crochets across, 2, 10, 2, all the way across. Get to the end of this round. I'll meet you there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round, and you should already start to see the little pattern forming. Yep. But we want to finish off this section, and in our next section, we're going to change back to this multicolored yarn, but the pattern, it's going to be the same as you see here, but it's going to change how we start the round. All right, so this is what I like to call the second repeat, and we'll talk about that later. You don't have to worry about it for now, okay? You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to worry about is finishing off this round, which is you would have done the 2 single crochets in your elongated stitches there, and then you would have 3 left. So it's 1, 2, 3. Remember to count your stitches, and it should be the same as before. Yeah. So what we're going to do is slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. We're going to change back to the multicolored yarn. So remove your stitch marker for a minute, drop your blue, grab your new yarn, your new color, pull it through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Now, if you didn't have it the way we've done it, you've got to pull it up and pull it through, but make sure it's not pulling at your work or tugging at your work, yeah? All right, so now grab your blue, passing it forward, or your solid color, yeah? Then you chain 1, grab that solid again, and moving it back. And in the same stitch, you're doing a single crochet. A normal single crochet. All right, place your stitch marker here. And you're going to start your round differently, like I said. And in this round, we're doing our chain 2, if you think about it, on top of our trebles from our previous round. So you chain 1 and 2, skip 1 and 2, and you're single crocheting into your 3rd stitch and doing a normal single crochet. It might look a bit awkward right now that it's not working, but it actually is. Then you do your half double, 1, and you do your 2 doubles, 1 and 2, and then you do your 2 trebles. You know the pattern, and your 2 trebles are going on top of your single crochet elongated stitches, if you had to think about them, yeah? A second one, and then you're doing 2 doubles, 1 and 2. Then you're doing your half double, and then your single. And when you get here, it's chain 2, single into your 3rd stitch. So chain 1 and 2, skip 1 and 2, single into the 3rd, and then back to half double again. And double 1. And from here, this is going to be your repeat for this round. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start with our repeat by doing a double into the next stitch, treble into the next 2, one and 2, double into your next, another one into your next, half double, single, chain 2, 1 and 2, skip 2 stitches and do a single crochet into your 3rd, half double, and finally a double. All right, so that from there to there is your repeat round. And in other words, all you're doing here is you're doing the opposite. You're actually doing the opposite to what you see there. All right, hope that made sense, yeah? So it's very simple. Just repeat this pattern that you've done, and that's the time to go to, all the way across until you get to your last set right here. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of our round, and in this section you should actually have a half double for your last stitch. Alright, if you don't, you must check where you may have gone wrong with your count, but it should be a half double, and I'll explain in a minute. And then when you slip stitch to join, you're into your single crochet, then you've got your chain spaces. All right, so it's kind of have to marry up this round for it to work. So all you're doing is slip stitching. Remove your stitch marker. You're slip stitching the same thread, but remember you need to work with this blue or your solid color as well. So what you're going to do is slip stitch to join, like that, grabbing your solid, passing it forward, chaining one, pass that solid back, single crochet in the same stitch with your multicolored yarn. Yeah, place your stitch marker there, repeat the round. Chain 1 and 2, single into that stitch, half double into the next, double, double, treble, treble, double, double, half double, and you have a repeat from here. This is where you're going to start your repeat. You do a single crochet into your next stitch, chain 1 and 2, single into your, skip your 2 chains, single into your next, half double, double, a second double, treble, oh, second treble, I almost forgot, I wasn't sure what I was doing then. Second treble, wake up Mary, they're saying, double, second double, half double, that's your repeat. All right, from your single to your half double. All right, so repeat your pattern in the round. Get to the end of the round right there. Where am I? Get to the, hello. Get to the end. Went too far. Get to the end of the round right there. Meet me there once you're done and get ready for pattern change again. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round. Once again, you should have a half double crochet as your last stitch right there. If I can get it in, like so. And then your single crochet should be there. So what we're going to do is pop our hook in and slip stitch to join, but we need to pick up the blue now, the solid color. We're going to do these 2 single crochet rounds again. All right. Remove your stitch marker. Yep. Just drop your multicolored yarn at the back, pull the loop through like so, and pull it through to the loop on your hook. It'll be loose, that's normal. You're going to tug it up a little bit, bringing it forward again. Yeah, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to pass it back like so. That's the way we do it. You're going to raise it up, and in the same space, what are you going to do? Single crochet, just 1. Pop your stitch marker in, and And you've brought up this thread as well. All right, let's just move it back there. Now, we're going to start this single crochet round differently than we started the first section, yeah, only because it starts differently here. We've got a single crochet and then we've got our 2 chain spaces. So what do you do with your 2 chain spaces? You do those elongated stitches, right? Pop your hook in the first stitch, pull a loop through, raise everything up to the top, and you complete your single crochet. Go into the very next stitch, do exactly the same thing. Bring it right up to the top and pull through. So you've got your tall stitches. Move your work over so that you can grab that single crochet, which is right there. It's very tight for me, but it's there. So single, 1. Remember how we count? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then your elongated stitches. All right, very simple. Same as before, just in a different section because we started our rounds differently, yeah? So 2 elongated stitches, move your guys over and grab that first single crochet tucked in there and count across 10. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, split the yarn there, let's try that again, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Elongated stitches all the way down into the single crochet, 1, all the way down into the second one, a little tricky, and then your 10 across. I'm not going to show you, you know what you're doing, all right? So, and you can actually start to see the pattern a little bit gorgeous. So 10 across, 2 into the elongated stitches, 10, 2, 10, 2, get to your last, I think it works out to be 9 stitches left. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So get to your last 9 stitches there. Meet me there once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. And I said you should have had 9 left, so finish your 9th stitch. Remember, if your stitch is off count, go back and see where you went wrong. It's most likely you went wrong in this, and I found that my count was always wrong on these first double crochets or the second. I always missed one of those. I don't know why, but I did. But anyway, moving right along, we're going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet. Pull your loop through like so. Drop your work. Grab your multicolored yarn, passing it forward. Yeah. Chain 1. Grabbing it, passing it back. Single crochet in the same stitch you are in. Remove that stitch marker and replace it. Leave your coloured thread there. You're going to use it in the next round. But for now, you're doing your second single crochet round. And here we have our 2 elongated stitches here. So you're going to do 1 and 2. And then you're going to single crochet 10 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I love this round. It's very easy, yeah? 8, 9, and 10. And then you've got your 2 elongated stitches, 1 and 2. All right. So what you're going to do here, oh, don't forget guys to detangle your yarns. Make sure they're not tangled up. Gorgeous. And all you're going to do here now is 10 across, single 1 and 2. 10 singles across, single 1 and 2, 10 across, 1, 2, all the way until you get to your last 9 single crochets. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the round, and I missed one stitch there, and there's our last stitch right there. Alright, so again, you should have the same amount of stitches. Get excited guys, because now you actually have your full pattern done, and this is where we're going to go into repeat pattern now. Alright, so what you're going to do really here is restart that very first section with your double crochets. I'm going to leave a time up there in a minute for you to see, but we're going to start it together so you don't get confused. Yeah, you're going back to this pattern now. You've done your rise and fall with this. Now you want to go back to that pattern and doing your rise in the beginning and your fall down the next section. All right, don't worry about that for now. I'll explain it to you in a minute, but just for now, we're going to slip stitch to join. Once again, we are changing back to our multicolored yarn. So slip stitch into your stitch, dropping your blue, or your solid, that is, and pulling your multicolored yarn through both your loops. Remove your stitch marker for a minute. It's a little loose, we'll talk about that in a minute. Just grab your blue, give it a tug, yep, passing it forward, because we're going to raise that blue up again for when you do your next set. Yeah, you're going to chain 1, raise that blue back, don't do this part too tight now, chain 2, pass the blue forward, chain 3, and just move it out the way, and pop your stitch marker in that stitch right there. And it's going to be tight, it will, and you know, it'll get tighter. If it's anything like mine, it's even tighter. Yeah, all right, so now just grab your blue, just pass it at the back for a minute while you do this part here. That's your first double crochet. Now you're going to do a treble in the very next stitch. You're in this stitch right here, you're going to do a treble in the very next stitch right there, 2, 2, 2, treble into the next, double in your next. This is where I was going wrong before. I was forgetting my second double there. Then you've got your half double, like that, your single, and right here you're going to start doing your chain 1 and 2, skip 1 and 2, jump into your third with your single crochet, starting your half double again, move that out the way for a minute, and then into your double, and this is also where I was going wrong, the second double. I was always forgetting that second double, and then you go into your trebles again. I'm not going to show you. What I'm going to do now is right here where this chain 3 is at the very, very beginning, I'm going to leave a timestamp for you now to go back to that very first stitch, which is going to be this stitch right here. All right, you'll go back to that first stitch, you'll repeat these 2 sets right here over and over again for the amount of rounds that you want for your size. But to be fair, the idea of repeating the rounds exactly the same per size is really important. Now the reason is, if you were to do another set, it would get too high into your neck. It will start to curve. Let me show you in the original. All right, so that's my original, yeah? So what you want to do, you've done 1 and 2 sets, yeah? What you want to do is, and I'll show you the time limit up there, you go back to that first set, you repeat 1 and 2 sets 2 more times. So you go once and then twice, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. So 3 sets of 1, 2 all together. So in other words, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets. And in between you've got your single crochet rounds, your 2 single crochet rounds. And I will leave a time anyway for you right where this start is, right? And all you need to do is repeat that start and the rest of what we've done so far 2 more times. All right? So what you need to do is repeat that 2 more times. However, when you get to this very last set, you don't need to carry up your yarn. Just leave it there and do your normal single crochet rounds of blue. All right? So don't carry up your yarn. Do 2 rounds of single crochet on your blue like you normally would. Meet me here once you're done, and then we will talk about what we're going to do next. All right? Continue doing that now, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of our sets, and how gorgeous does this look? I am loving, loving, loving. Now, I still believe the contrast colour would have looked better if we used black. Yeah, however, it's okay. It still looks simply divine. Now, I did mention not to, let's bring this up a little. There we go. I did mention not to worry about bringing that thread up now because we are at the end. And what we're going to do here is, firstly, by the way, if you wanted to put another round to make it look a little bit more similar, I think they look the same to me, but there you go. But if you wanted to put another round, you can. Not necessary, not in the pattern, so you can though if you want to. Otherwise, slip stitch to join like normal. Pull up your loop. Get excited. Give it a cut. Make sure everything's correct first, yeah? Give it a cut because you are done. The other thing you need to do is cut the other thread. If you haven't already, give it a cut. And what we're going to do real quickly is turn this inside out, and we're going to weave those ends in, yeah? All right, so this is the wrong side of your work, yeah? And even that doesn't look too bad. But you can tell it's the wrong side, yeah? And you can actually see, like, it's sort of very jaggedy edge looking. Jaggedy, can I use that word? It's a bit, it looks messier, if that makes any sense. All right, so what we're going to do now is just grab that light one. Now you should only have 2 ends because we weaved in the first 2 ends. I showed you how to do that. That was a lot of fun. But you should only have 2 ends. Now I ended up with an extra 2 blue ends in the middle somewhere because my skeins of blue were only this small. They were like 18 to 20 grams. So I did end up with 2 blues, which I've already weaved in, right? That doesn't make any difference to you. For now, what you want to do here is make sure you weave in your ends in an area where the colour is. There's nothing worse than weaving it in through the blue and you accidentally leave the needle showing at the back and you've got a yellow sticking there, which in this case it doesn't matter because there's a lot of little bits of colour everywhere. But to be safe, all you need to do is weave in and out of the back of your yellow. Just check the front, make sure you can't see the needle. Gorgeous. Yellow, green colour, whatever you're using, orange, red, it doesn't matter. Oh, look what I did. I'm going to take mine undone because I've pulled, see that thread right there? That's no good. We don't want that. So I'm just going to take that little bit out there. That's better. Don't do that, Mary. Don't do that, guys. Don't listen to the teacher now. All right, so do that. Turn it back the other way. And what you want to do here is literally split a little bit of thread first and then weave in and out of different sections. All right, now give your piece a little bit of a cut right there. Or a cut, not a little bit, just a cut. And there you go. Give it a gentle tug and it hides in between those splits. And that's your first tail. Now, the last tail, well, that's a little tricky, okay? And a lot of people say, oh, but look at the knot. Let's do the special join. Not necessary to do the special join. Really, it isn't. All you need to do with this particular piece is, that's the knot. This is where that's the right side of our work and we're on the wrong side, yeah? So that's your knot there. The way you do it is you go back into the stitch just before it. So that's the stitch you are in now. Go to the stitch before it, and that's, let me show you what we're doing here. That's the top stitch there. What you want to do is literally go to a couple of backside stitches, like the back and deep down into it. Make sure you can't see the needle from the front. But when you do that, your knot literally pulls back. So you don't see it. You don't see it. Tiny, tiny little bit. Give it a gentle tug. You will not see that knot, all right? And then, oh, this is a little awkward part. Trying to weave in close to the edge is real tricky, but you can do it. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. All right, so once again, grab a few little threads splitting in between each of the single crochet stitches and just pull it through. And then you cut. Being careful not to cut your work, yeah? Imagine all those hours of work and then you cut it. No good. All right, so turn it back in the right way. That is your little seam line, which you can't even tell. So you can wear your piece any way you like. And there you have it, guys. Thank you very much for joining us in creating the gorgeous cowl today. I'm sorry that it went for a very long time. But I wanted to be thorough, especially jumping from one set to the other, yeah? So thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, thank you to the lovely Mel for her beautiful Kingfisher yarn from Changling Coloured Yarns. If you want to purchase this yarn, please check the description box down below. I've left Mel's details right up the very top, a link to her website right up the very top, and you can click on that and check her yarn out if you like, or purchase this gorgeous yarn. And once again, a very special thank you to the lovely Bonnie for her colour choice today. It's simply divine. My name is Mary and this is Wow Crochet Designs. Ciao for now.